Okay guys, this is going to be a little bit different video than you're used to from us. We just went through a major hurricane, and living out here in Central Florida, I know you've all been watching the news and it's been devastating. We have friends on both sides of the coast, the Gulf and the Atlantic, so our hearts go out to all of our friends and all the people that have gone through this horrible devastation. Today we want to talk about kind of our journey, and we've had so many of our clients and friends from all across the country reach out to us, check on us, and just wanting to know what's going on in our area. So this was kind of what we wanted to talk about today.
We're really thankful to have these clients, now friends, that were checking on us, and some people that haven't even come to Central Florida yet were checking on us. So we really appreciate you and thank you for caring and thinking about us. But we were actually in Mexico finishing up a vacation when all of a sudden we heard a hurricane was coming.
So we're going to kind of rewind the tape, and our journey started kind of the week before. We have friends out of state that wanted to get a group together to go out to Mexico so that they could celebrate their anniversary. So we were out there having a lot of fun, and it's funny because they are so excited for the beaches, and we're like, okay, we're going from paradise to paradise. You know, I mean, as far as the beaches go. And I think really some of our beaches were even better than theirs in Mexico. But anyway, we were out there having a great time. We had a lot of friends out there, and we were also snorkeling and just enjoying the area, not knowing what was brewing out there.
Really a lot of the stuff that we can do here in Florida, but it was in Mexico, so.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, we're turning on the TV toward the end of our trip. We came back on a Saturday, so we heard there's a hurricane out there coming off the coast of Cuba.
Right, it was coming into the Gulf south of Cuba, so we knew that it has a lot of possibilities. Hurricanes have a mind of their own, but they're projecting it to come here to Central Florida.
Well, and they thought Tampa was in the line,
right.
And we're watching the Weather Channel.
But needless to say, we knew we were going to be most likely in the cone and affected by it.
Right, and so you never know where it's going to land because, you know, the forecast, it looks like a bunch of spaghetti, you know, that's all over the board, and it could go from Tampa all the way down, you know, just depending on all the models that they're looking at. So
of course,
the thing about devastation and the thing about what happens across America, really, there's devastation everywhere. So
right, everybody has a little something that they have to worry about, whether it's tornadoes, earthquakes, wildfires. Here we have hurricanes, but the positive thing about it, if we can say there's a positive thing about it, is that we get plenty of warning, plenty of time to prepare and to take action. So
yeah, and if you're afraid or if you're not comfortable or if you feel like you're in a flood area, then you leave. You know, we have people that live here, friends, and they left, and then you come back when it's over with. At least you have that you know, warning in advance.
Right.
You know, being no stranger to hurricanes, growing up in the South, Louisiana to be exact, we have gone through our fair share of hurricanes, so we know you have to prepare. When we chose to move to Florida, we could have been anywhere in Florida. We love the beaches, but because of that, we didn't want to be on the coastal area.
You're a lot more vulnerable on the coast, as I think we can see from what happened with this last one, Ian, that came through. We feel here in Central Florida that we have a lot more protection, that by the time it gets to us with the ones that we have experienced,
it's dropped.
Yeah, things have died down. Not that things can't happen, but there's a lot less, I guess, to worry about.
Yeah, and to go a step further, you know, we are in Clermont. We feel that, you know, not just Central Florida, but for us, Clermont was a great place because the elevation is incredible. You're high, so the flooding was never an issue for us. I mean, we never thought, I mean, yes, are there low-lying areas in Clermont? Absolutely. there's the green swamp, you know, there's some, you
Yeah.
know, and then if you live on the lake, I mean, of course, you have a risk of some of that water coming up.
But being at this higher elevation, once again, it keeps you less risk for flooding, let's put it that way.
Correct,
A lot
correct.
less risk, really.
So we want to kind of take you on our journey, what we did when we got back, how we prepared for it, what we heard, what we saw, and then after the fact. I mean, right now we're out at Waterfront Park. It's a beautiful day. Boats are starting to get back out in the water. Runners, bikers, joggers, they're out in
It's a
full
few days.
force.
It's a few days after the hurricane actually hit, so this sort of gives you a feel of what it's like here. I mean, we've had blue skies the last couple days, and I know the hurricane is still going up the coast and affecting people, but here it's sort of gone through and it's passed now.
And everyone is pretty much high and dry here, and I haven't really heard of much flooding or anything in this area. Yes, there have been some downed trees, so you're driving around, you see some, and when I say trees, I mean there might be some trees, but there's also some branches, so there's cleanup to do.
Some branches and limbs, and actually you have the trucks going around today collecting all that. They started to clean up today, and yesterday they started to do that already. So there is
Everything
some,
really looks back to normal.
right, there's some work to be done, but yeah, there is, back to normal is almost what you can say now with the way people are out about enjoying the outside. We have a little bit cooler temperatures. Temperatures are in the 70s, so that's nice. We actually woke up in the 60s this morning. Can you believe it? That's cold for us. But we'll be back up in the 80s before the end of the day.
All right, so we're going to kind of walk through what we went through, and we also went out and checked our clients' homes that aren't here locally right now, and either they went away or they're snowbirds or whatever, that they've asked us to check on things, and some are still building.
Yeah, we did.
So we
went
had
out
to go in.
we checked out the building sites just to take a look. A lot of people worried, well, what's going on with my house? And we went out and showed them. And tell you the truth, we were pleased to say that they all checked out great. There
And
was
everyone
no issues.
that we talked to living in our community, no one had issues. We personally did not have a power outage. Heavy winds, yes. Power outage, no. And most of the people we talked to in and around the area, they didn't have it as well. But we have heard there are some sections.
There are parts of Orlando that have had
or
issues.
Clermont that
Yeah.
had some power
Yeah,
outages. So
true.
I'm not going to minimize it because, you know, there are some power outages, but for a whole, a lot of people did very well. So let me show you some of our journey as we went through the storm.
One of the first things that you do is get gas in all your cars, make sure you're gassed up. We found that some of the gas stations around here were running out of gas. They were having people come in to fill them up, but get it quickly.
Yeah, and then you fill up your bathtubs with water because you just don't know if you're going to have water or not. So this is good for flushing the toilets and just having water in case you need to boil it. You also buy bottled water.
Bottled water
for
is very
drinking.
important to have, or some sort of container water. We actually had a system that filters the water that we could use. Shelves get empty just like this. This is where all bottled water was. It was gone. Hey, bread disappears. Different groceries start
Because
to
you're
disappear.
having to buy non-perishable food,
Right.
so you're really preparing because you know the storm and the winds can knock out electricity, and you know you're just preparing in advance.
We knew Ian was coming in as a real strong hurricane, so we wanted to make sure we had plenty of flashlights, batteries, and a weather radio that could work without either.
So this is the day before. You can see the clouds. I just wanted to show you, you know, it was really gray. It almost looks like a shelf with the clouds.
Real eerie, not any sunlight coming through, that was for sure. This is 2 days after the storm hit. The day after was just more rain coming down and some winds continued to blow. but you can see we went for a walk, a 3-mile walk around the lake.
And there's still a lot of, some winds going. You could see the lake, the little waves in the wake, but people are out swimming. It's kind of like people wanted to get back to normal.
Yeah, cleanup was going on. You saw him blowing sand before, but there was a lot of down tree limbs and branches, and people were all putting them together
This is
for.
moss from the trees that had blown off the trees.
It's all gathering on the beaches, so a little beach cleanup is going to be needed as well, pretty much all along.
It was great to see that there wasn't a ton of damage over by the lakefront area. We just love hanging out over there and watching people bike and run and jog and all that fun stuff. But again, there's cleanup to be done.
Yeah, it was a little cooler temperatures, so people were wearing jackets and a little wind was still blowing, but it was a beautiful day.
So now we're out on the road, same day, right after we walked the lakefront, just to show you things just didn't change. Everything looked normal. You didn't see a lot of down power lines or really any going up 27, and everything looked like it did before. We also went through checking on properties for clients, some of the new construction that's being built, and again, everything looked fine.
Yeah, the builder sites really were put together. It wasn't things blown all over the place like people thought there might be, and people's homes were in great condition.
Well, that was our journey today.
It was a quick update, just showing you what it was like going through a hurricane, Central Florida. Again, we know you're watching the news, especially if you're considering coming our area. But we wanted to kind of show you what was happening out in our part of Central Florida.
And our hearts do go out to all those who have experienced, the pains and the disaster and the different circumstances that are out there right now. But we just, like Shirley said, we just wanted to let you know what our experience was here and what we had to do and just what happened here.
So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.